Okay, I'm just checking if we are live. Just give me one moment.
Yeah, Ajinkya, just check if we are live. Ajinkya?
Yes, just checking.
Yes, I think we are live. Just check if everything is working fine, then we can start.
Give me. Yes, you are live now.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. First of all, I welcome all the candidates, training placement officers who have joined this pre-placement talk by NCS. First of all, I would like to thank NCS, the entire team of NCS, for giving us an opportunity to launch this particular drive for the 2022 batch candidates. So previously we have already conducted the two fresher drives for 2019, 2020 and 2021 batch. So this particular drive was specially for the 2022 batch students, those who are graduating in 2022. So like before we proceed with the entire pre-placement talk, I would like to first give some important information. Like most of the students wanted to know about the timeline. We had already mentioned the timeline and the selection process on the registration form, but still I will just go through that, and then I will hand over to the NCS team, wherein they will give you a detailed information about the company, as well as all the doubts which you have asked during your registration form, whatever queries you had about the particular drive. Most of those will get covered in whatever presentation will be given by NCS team. So to start with, so this is going to be the timeline. So earlier the test date was 7th May, okay, but the new test date will be 8th May, and maybe some of the students will face the test on 9th May. So I think many students requested us to push this to 8th May, because there were a lot of students who were having some exams on 7th May. So the online test date is 8th May and 9th May. So you will get the exact date and time slot on your email ID. Okay. So make sure whenever you are going through the email ID, you check all other folders as well, apart from the inbox folder. Okay. All the further communication regarding the test date, the test result, the interview slots, everything will be communicated to you on your email ID. The online test result will be on 10th May, and the video communication rounds will start on 11th May, and the interview rounds will start on 13th of May. Now what will happen? So basically all the rounds, so just I will push to the selection process. So this is going to be the selection process, and all of these are elimination rounds. Like the students who will crack the online test, they will be getting the details on their email for the further round. The students who will crack the video communication round, they will get the further details about the interview round. Okay. So the first interview round is going to be technical. Interview round 2 will be HR interview with your document verification. So both of the interview round 1 and round 2 will be conducted by Talent Battle team, and the students who crack the first 4 rounds, those will be going through the interview round 3, which will be the final interview conducted by NCS team. So it will comprise of technical as well as HR questions. So this is going to be the selection process. Just to tell you, the online test is going to have aptitude questions as well as technical questions. So the questions will be MCQ based. There might be coding questions asked maybe in the interview or the online test. So not disclosing much about the online test or the interview rounds. I think it will be pretty much should be ready about all these particular rounds whenever you are going to appear for the test. Okay. One very important communication: for any kind of queries related to this drive, make sure you mail us only on info@talentbattle.in. Do not use any other email ID. Do not directly mail to NCS team by taking email ID from their website, because all the queries will be cleared only on this particular email ID. Okay. So keep that in mind whenever you are going to contact us for any queries related to this particular drive. Now, before I hand over to NCS, so first I would like to introduce NCS team. So today we have with us Bill, who is the partner, Global Delivery Network, NCS. We have Aditya, who is the senior manager HR at NCS. And we also have Sneha, who is the lead QMS at NCS. So first of all, I would like to welcome all three of you and thank you for giving your time for this pre-placement talk and also for this opportunity to students of 2022 batch. So over to NCS team.
Great, thank you. And Aditya, will you bring up the slides?
Yes.
I just want to check if everybody is able to see my screen. Oh, great. Yeah.
So
shall I move ahead?
Yeah.
For 40 years, we've been part of building a nation, seeing it advance in ways few would have thought possible. How will we shape the next 40 years? The answer? We'll do it together. We'll bring people and technology together like never before. Technology like autonomous vehicles that will connect smart nations, enhancing healthcare for everyone with intelligent care for a healthier future. Inspiring our children with the next generation of education that breaks down barriers to truly connect. Helping entire industries adapt to new challenges to safely keep trade flowing and the world moving. Working with telcos to create the future of connectivity, unleashing the potential of 5G everywhere, and financial innovations to transform digital commerce for all. Together, we can advance communities and transform industries. Together, we are harnessing technology to realize the vision of tomorrow, today. Extraordinary starts here. For 40 years.
Hi, a very warm welcome to every one of you. Thank you for joining us. A special thanks to the Talent Battle team for helping organize this. As part of our pre-placement discussion today, we'll be covering a couple of points here. So we'll start with NCS overview. We'll have an overview of Single Group, talking about people value proposition, what is the career progression model, what is our people engagement at NCS Live, and a quick tour of our new facility in Pune that we recently inaugurated. So without spending more time on this, I would request Bill to please take over the NCS overview portion for us. Thank you so much, Bill.
Yeah, no problems. And if we just go on to the next slide. To start with, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. Personal introduction, name's Bill Skipper, based in Australia, in Brisbane office. Was officially joined NCS in December last year and took on the role for the global delivery network across all of the world for NCS. Obviously, Pune and India is the most important location at present, but we have also operations in China, in the Philippines, in Malaysia, and we're looking at other options closer to Singapore as well. Over the last 6 months in particular, there's been huge steps in growing our global footprint. The team will talk a little bit more around our expansion to India with the showing of the office, but we've also gone through a number of acquisitions in Australia. So now we have about 2,000 people in the Australian location across all of the the main cities of Australia, and hopefully that will create opportunities for you to come and visit me in Australia sometime. So just a bit of background around NCS. We're basically been a key part of
I think there is a technical issue with Bill. We'll just give him a minute.
Beg your pardon, guys. Had
Yes.
a bit of technical issues there. Apologies. So we've been part of Singapore's transformation since 1981. It basically grew out of the major government organisation charged with the responsibility of being able to bring Singapore in particular and transform all of the government agencies. And over that last 40 years, we've basically gone through the digital transformation of government and have been significantly expanding into more of the commercial sectors, not only in Singapore, but also expanding throughout the rest of Southeast Asia and Australia. If we can just go to the next page. So as mentioned, we started in 1981 as NCB, basically the National Computer Board. And around 1996, basically NCS was incorporated as a separate entity. It was then acquired by Singtel in 1997, and during that time, we've been part of the broader Singtel family. I think it's fair to say, though, that the positioning of NCS has changed significantly, mainly over the last 12 months. It used to be embedded within the broader Singtel group. Now it is a sort of a separate business unit within Singtel with its own governance, and basically we start to control our own destiny with regards to our growth aspirations, which are quite significant, and we've seen significant growth over the last sort of 12 months. Part of that journey has been the recognition that NCS needs to be more than a Singapore-based organisation. And we've gone through a very active acquisition process over the last 12 to 24 months, which has seen our expansion in the commercial sectors. It's seen expansions in the Singapore business areas. And as mentioned, we've gone through the acquisition process in Australia, which with the acquisition of probably 3 key entities over the last 12 months. Riley, which is a sort of a cloud transformation business. ARC, which is a digital transformation business focusing on UI, UX, data and analytics, security, etc. And Dialogue, which is the largest of the companies in Australia. We've purchased about 1,000 people focused on agile development, primarily targeting for government and financial services and health and transport sectors. So a very robust growth area over the last 40 years. And if you look towards how we've gone, I think we're about $2 billion revenue company at the moment, and we're looking towards doubling that over the next probably 4 years. So still large growth aspirations. So if you're lucky to join us, it's certainly going to be a great ride. We're certainly going to be growing significantly going forward. So next page, please. So if you look towards the business that we have, and I'll start with the left side, definitely market leadership in the IT services area, which includes both obviously our Singtel offerings as well as the NCS offerings. 2.3 billion FY21 group revenue, and we're continuing to see that grow quite significantly over the coming years. And over 40% of our business comes from digital cloud platforms and cyber services, right? And we're probably going to see that change and pivot to more sort of 60% over the coming years. So we'll become more and more of the digital-driven IT services business. And our services that we provide offshore will basically match that growth and match that focus very much on the digital cloud platforms, cyber services, and new age agile development. Our growth model is primarily driven on an industry focus in the areas of healthcare and transport, financial industry and commercial practices, as well as telco. Very much our strong basis has been in the government sector down below as well. We're very much looking towards continuing to grow our public service and defence and homeland security business, primarily in Singapore, but really to expand beyond Singapore for both our government and our commercial sectors into Greater China, Australia, and more sort of global offerings, which includes at the moment we have clients in Sri Lanka, we've got clients starting to open up in the Middle East, and we'll continue to see that focus sort of going forward. Over 3,000 projects. When I presented, guys, this slide, I think about 3 months ago, that 12,000 was 10,000. So it probably gives you an idea of how quickly we're growing. And I think we're pushing on 13,000 and will be over for the rest of this year, mainly off the back of the growth within our global delivery center network. Right, 3,000 projects, and now we have presence in 20 cities across Asia Pac. Obviously, Singapore is one of those. With the acquisitions in Australia, we now have openings in Brisbane, Sydney, Canberra, Melbourne, Geelong, Adelaide, Perth, and Darwin, right, which basically gives us a very good geographic footprint to expand. Next slide, please. So this gives you an idea of where our positioning is. So definitely from a ranking with combination of Singtel and NCS, number one market share percentage of 6.5%, which is a great result. And when we look towards Singapore, that probably highlights our presence very much in Singapore government. 13% of the market in Singapore is ours, and we'll continue to obviously protect those, and it's very important for us to protect those. And when you look towards the industry breakdowns, in Singapore, number one in government, number one in education, number one in banking and investment services, and number one in healthcare and life sciences. And obviously for us, our intention is based on that exceptionally strong market positioning in Singapore. We're using that as a platform to expand our presence in the other geographies that we're looking towards expanding into. Okay. So next slide, please. So over the last couple of years, mainly focused on breakthrough projects. And again, more and more of these types of projects will be looked towards being served out of our offshore locations. We've had Internet of Things with facial recognition, cloud platforms, excuse me, has been a major area for expansion. Remote learning opportunities with our partnerships with the Singapore education departments, 5G and video analytics. This is probably an important one. While the application has been in the police and private security sector, the 5G use cases will be a major focus for us as we expand, and that's been one of the areas why we've created Telco Plus, which is our separate business unit with senior leadership driving towards taking the most of the sort of telecommunications revolution, which is happening mainly off the back of 5G, but also many of the telcos out there are going through this very interesting transformation from old scale legacy applications to more digital available applications. And Telco of the Future is what we call it, is going to be one of the major initiatives which will be driven out of our Indian delivery center. Now the fun stuff, obviously in autonomous vehicles, we've done work in that space. Robotics, we actually have developed a robot application for nursing, which basically provides assistance to nursing personnel, takes basically vital signs, key temperature, blood pressure, delivers items, medication, etc., and then provides those statistics back to the nursing stations. And then obviously, also we have sort of geospatial analytics and network security, and network, as you know, and security in general is going to be a major focus as we go forward, particularly with the increasing levels of cybersecurity threats that exist in the world today. So next slide, please. So with the acquisitions that we were mentioning about, and what you'll see you'll see this reference to the innovation triangle within some of the materials from NCS. Basically, the intention is to create this focal point for digital capabilities and digital innovation, leveraging the capabilities in India, in Singapore, and in Melbourne. We have specific centres of excellence spread across those various locations. A number of our acquisitions have been made to help bolster those focus, but certainly my vision is that as we expand our footprint in Pune and across the broader global delivery centre network, more and more of the centres for innovation will exist within the GDN. So that's my vision. That's one of the things I'll be working very closely with the practice leads and the various areas of NCS to try and promote that view. But certainly they're the centres of excellence. The delivery of these new digital initiatives will very much be driven based upon our personnel within the Global Delivery Centre network. Next page, please. So it's a pretty daunting slide, but this probably gives you a view of the various specialisations that exist across NCS, and you'll see that we refer to the colours of NCS. Each of the key practice areas have a different colour. And you'll see it across the top, client services. The general intention is the client service groups create strong linkages with our clients. They understand the industry, they understand the specific client requirements, and they are also the focal point for translating the complexity of all of these practice areas below and understanding which of these are relevant to address the specific business problem, right? We then have on the left-hand side what we regard as core. So a lot of the traditional services which have been transformed over the last decade or so span across general applications, the infrastructure space, specific engineering. So we have engineering groups which create hardware and also implement these hardware solutions into the local applications across our clients. And also cybersecurity is obviously a very focus area for us. On the next slide, you'll see data, digital, cloud, products and platforms, and also ventures. Ventures includes those relationships that we've built and gone through the acquiring process. As mentioned, at the moment, the split is probably 60% on the left-hand side, 40% on the other side. We're looking towards pivoting that to more the other way around, so 40% core, 60% next over the next 4 to 5 years. That will not mean that the core side will shrink. In fact, that will probably double, and the next side will probably triple or more in size over the next couple of years as we take advantage of the opportunities that exist in the market. Next slide, please. So lots of partnerships. So obviously for us, intending to be the #1 service provider across the whole of Asia Pac, not just Southeast Asia, the important thing is to develop very strong relationships with key partners. We have a very active marketing and ecosystem partner program. So for us, companies like Microsoft, AWS, Oracle, IBM, even Pega, etc., is essential for our growth, and we'll continue to grow those over the next couple of years, strengthen those relationships, and then sort of grow together across the market. Next page, please. And then we have the key clients. Now, many of these clients are at the moment obviously Singapore-based. You'll see some Australian examples in Optus, obviously, and also in China with Alibaba. But with the acquisitions probably in Australia, we've got long-standing relationships with many of the local Australian federal government departments, as well as some of the state-level health departments and transport groups. Probably when you look towards this list, you'll see that many of our clients have been clients for many, many years. Now, that doesn't mean we've been doing the same thing with them for 40 years. The relationship has developed. The service offerings we've provided them have changed over time. But you basically need to be a very good service provider to be able to enable to have such long-standing, significant relationships with such marquee clients. So that's probably a very good indicator to the level of service that we can provide to our clients, the depth of relationship that we can establish, and creates a fantastic platform for us to sort of grow from. The other thing it does mention, that highlight the importance of those. We can't be complacent. We need to protect these relationships, and we need to continue to evolve the services we provide to them and keep the relationships fresh. So next slide, please. So that's it for me. I just wanted to just give you a bit more of an overview around Pune in particular, and I'm probably sure Aditya will cover that as well. We have huge growth aspirations for India and the broader India practice. As you may know, we've currently got 550 people there. We're expecting to grow that to approximately 1,000 by August. And then we get into a sort of a natural cadence of growing at approximately 80 to 120 people a month for the foreseeable future. The intention is our Indian operation will get to approximately 6,000 people over the next 4 years. And for you who are starting off your careers, I can just say that there's no better place to meet and to join than when you are joining a growing organisation, and we certainly have significant growth aspirations. We have a regional footprint which will provide opportunities for you to work overseas as well, whether that's short-term or long-term. So definitely exciting times ahead. So with that, I'll sign off. Thank you very much, and good luck with the process.
Thank you so much, Ben. Every time I hear you, I learn something new about NCS Group. So I think I need to come back to these discussions a lot often with you. Okay.
Always happy. Okay, I'll need to leave you guys now. So good luck with the rest of the session, and please feel free to ask any questions through to the team. And if I can help answer them, I'll work with the team to do that. So good luck, and thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you for your time.
Okay, so moving on, I hope I'm audible. So moving on with a quick overview of Singtel Group. I don't know how many of you, before applying for this role, how many of you had heard about Singtel as an organization, but just to give you an idea, Singtel was established more than 140 years ago, and Singtel is the oldest telecommunication provider in Asia. It's the largest and the leading telecommunications technology group in Asia. We are listed on Singapore Stock Exchange with an overall headcount of more than 25,000, out of which about 50,000 are based out of Singapore, and remaining 10,000 are based out of Australia and other locations. And like Bill said, we currently have about 550 in India, NCS India. Our plans are to grow higher and reach a number of about 1,000 by the end of this year. And also one interesting fact about Singtel, because Bill has talked a lot about NCS. So just to give you a quick fact check about Singtel, within Singtel Group, we reach more than 700 million mobile customers around the globe. So we have associate companies under Singtel Group, which are based out of Asia, Australia, Africa, and US regions. So that's quite a number of lives that we touch on every day when we work with Singtel Group. And the same goes for NCS, because even with NCS, it's quite an impact that we create when we work for NCS Group. So just to give you a fair idea about some of the companies, group companies that are there under Singtel Group. So if you can just go to the next slide, please. So these are some of the companies which are part of the Singtel Group. So you already know NCS is one of them. Optus is a leading, second largest telco provider in Australia. Then we have Trustwave, we have Amobi, we have DataSpark, Airtel. So all these different companies, and we have recently acquired 2 more companies in Australia. And what you see on your screen, the building that you see, that is the comm center, the command center for Singtel Group. It was built in about 1970s, and back then it was an iconic building in Singapore. This building is going to go through renovation and redevelopment. So hopefully by 2025 onwards, we'll have a new building coming up over there, 2025, 27 onwards. Okay, so moving on to the next slide to talk about the people value proposition, because that is something which is very important. And if you can just go on to the next slide. Uh, Before I cover this part, I would like to touch upon, an interesting thought that I have, and I often refer to this when I engage with the students. When you look for a company, you look for an opportunity, you often think it's always good to work in a company which is like 100,000 employees, 200,000 employees. But take a step back, look at what is your value when you work for an organization that is that large, 2 lakh employees, 3 lakh employees. You're 1 in 2 lakh. If you simply take the revenue divided by headcount, you will see revenue generated per employee. So obviously, the revenue generated per employee in large organizations will be much lower compared to uh, the size that we operate in. And especially if you look at the current state where we are in NCS India, where we are just ramping up. If I go back a quarter, we were at about 300. So just in about 1 quarter, we've onboarded about 200 people. And as we grow, we'll onboard more people. You make quite an impact when you join a workforce which is ramping up from if imagine being the first 50 employees of an organization which is 500 people large. Now the same organization grows to say 5,000, and imagine being the first 500 amongst the first 500 people who have joined this organization. So you see the kind of impact that you make. And at NCS, our basic goal is that we seek to transform NCS into an irresistible organization by creating a star experience for our people. What you see in the center of this slide, the AEIOU, that's our culture. That's adventure, excellence, integrity, ownership, and unity. And with that, we provide options to our people to achieve personal growth and mastery. We give them opportunities to move across different specialization and work in various regions and industries. Like Bill said, that you have opportunities to work in global regions as well. And depending on individuals' skill sets and areas of interest, our people also get to be involved in exciting and impactful work. And thus, they help us, live to the motto that we live by. That is, our commitment to building a strong workplace where talent grows and thrives, and people develop in a more professional, individuals. So, moving to the next slide, talking about the next phase of people value proposition, and then this entire flywheel. I personally love to start with learning, because that's where everything starts. Uh, at NCS, we have a very effective training module. We have a very strong training, on the job training methodologies. And some of you had asked this question: what would be my training? What kind of trainings will I be going through? So uh, don't need to worry about that. You'll have a very well structured training plan when you join us. And as a return of everything that you learn through classroom trainings or through on the job trainings, you would be expected to make an impact, make a difference in what you deliver, what you work. And it's a very high performance environment. NCS on the whole is very high performance environment, and we expect our people to, do things better every time they do it. So it's not just one time, it's not just twice, but every time you do it. And similarly, they're rewarded. So progression is based on performance. It is not just tenure based typically, but it is driven by individuals' performance. We hope to offer a very competitive compensation to people that are part of our group, and also offer them a compelling career path, so that not only within NCS but even beyond NCS, it makes an overall impact in the career. Obviously, during this entire cycle, from learning, making an impact, and obviously getting your rewards, you'll make a very strong relationship with your peers and also with your mentors. And this is the kind of relationship that stays with you for a long period. And last but not the least, fun is something which is very important for us. The fun quotient should always be on a high side, because we work a lot, and we love to have a lot of fun as well. So it's and also, I mean, it is thanks to people who have joined us from campuses. they tend to help us be at the same pace as they are. So it's the younger generation that we have in our office, which is quite a lot, and they help us maintain the fun quotient. So with some of you coming on board, some of you joining us, I'm sure you will experience this entire. You'll go through us, go through this entire journey with us, and make a lot of or make a very strong career for yourself by coming into NCS. So moving to the next slide, which I think everybody is kind of waiting for, or for some, this could be the only slide that you're waiting for. So I know that you're already aware through the application and the registration process, what is the total compensation that you're looking at. So the total compensation is somewhere about 7.32 lakhs. It is broken down into 4 different components. The first component is the gross salary, which is about 5,10,000. Then there is an annual performance bonus, which is paid annually. That's about 56,600. Over and above this, you're also entitled to about 1,16,000, as additional benefits, which is paid out to you. And as part of the campus joining, you'll also be entitled to one-time joining bonus of INR 50,000. There is a clawback for one year commitment. But some of you did ask this question: if there's a bond if I sign up with NCS. So we don't have a typical bond system. You work with us for as long as you find this place interesting, for as long as you think you're learning, for as long as you're making an impact and growing professionally. There's no bond, there's no minimum period that you need to work with us. People have been with us for a long duration, and there are people who move out as well. But I'm sure everybody who's moved out, NCS has made a significant impact in their overall career path and overall professional journey. So moving to the next slide, just to kind of cover some of the portions or some of the items which are part of the additional offering and not covered under the typical compensation package. So gratuity, which is as per the Gratuity Act under Indian laws, it's over and above the salary that we offer to our employees. Our employees are also entitled to some of the other awards, mainly sport awards. Then there are employee referral awards. There is service recognition award, and there is child for marriage and childbirth. There are gift vouchers. So these are in a way related, monetary benefits or monetary offerings which are over and above the compensation package. What you see on the right side is a very strong bouquet of insurance packages that we have for our employees. Overall, there are 5 different insurance packages that we offer to our employees. The first one is the group health insurance, which covers employee, their spouse, and up to 2 children. And the cover over here is up to 500,000. So 5 lakh rupees, you're covered and your family is covered. Over and above this, we also offer term life insurance, but only individual employees are eligible under this. And along with term life, we also offer personal accidental insurance, where again, the cover is limited to the employees only. So for both term life as well as accidental insurance, the sum insured is 3 times your salary. As and when your salary is revised, your sum insured will again get revised. Other than these 3 traditional insurance packages, we have 2 more packages. One is the COVID specific top-up, which is applicable till for another couple of months. We still need to see if the insurers would renew this, because with COVID coming to almost to an end, and most of the insurance companies are now covering COVID related expenses under the first policy, which is the health insurance policy. If IRDA, which is the regulatory authority of India, decides not to have any further COVID related top-ups, then we may not be able to continue. But at this point, if at all any employee exhausts their 5 lakh insurance cover under the GHI scheme, which is the first scheme, they have an option to tap into the top-up, which is another 5 lakh rupees. And this provides cover to you, your spouse, and up to 2 children. Obviously, for this group, the spouse and 2 children does not make a difference, because you're all fresh grads. But yes, over the period of time, I'm sure you'll have larger families to take care of. With the last package, that is parental cover, this is again a similar thing that you have under GHI, but this is specifically for your parents. Not everybody wants to cover their parents. Some of our employees have come back to us stating that their parents are already working and they have their own insurance policies and they don't want to go for an additional insurance policy, whereas some don't have insurance cover. So this is something which is by choice. So for first 4 insurance policies, you are covered by default. You don't have to pay any premium as well for the first 4. But the 5th one, it is on selection basis. So if you choose to cover your parents are covered under the group policy from day 1. All pre-existing diseases are also covered under this policy because it is a group policy, and that's the biggest benefit of this policy. Otherwise, if you go for parental cover, there is a 3-year wait period for existing diseases, and there's a 1-year waiting period in general. So the policy that you purchase from retail market is typically useless for about 4 years. You only pay the premium. But the benefit of group policy is that your parents and pre-existing diseases are covered from day 1. Obviously, there is a premium which is charged back to the employees in installments. So you have an option to, cover your parents and pay the insurance premium in 6 different or 3 different installments. Premium is also decided based on parents' age group. So younger the parents are, the lower the insurance premium would be. And often there is a question: what happens if I leave during the middle of the year? Can I port this policy, or what happens? Does the policy expire? So because it is a group policy, it is only applicable as long as you're an employee of NCS. Once you decide to leave mid-year, whatever premium you've paid, a prorated of that amount will be utilized for the time that you have been with us. For the time that you are not going to be there on the policy, the prorated amount will be refunded to you by the insurance company. But that's if you decide to leave, and I'm sure nobody's looking at that right now. So moving on to the next slide, please. What is a typical career progression model at NCS? Again, this was also one of the questions that you guys had asked in while going through the registration process. So with the help of the next slide, I would like to show you how the career levels are defined and how different grades fit into different career levels. So what you see in small text in the pyramid, OST 6, PF1, PF2, these are the grades. Employees are onboarded on grades. And if I talk about your particular group, you will be onboarded at PF1, which is a professional grade 1. Within the professional grade, we have 5 levels. From PF1, we have an opportunity to move all the way till PF5. And beyond professional grade, there is an executive grade, which ranges between E1 to E4. And beyond E4, there is a senior leadership. Now, if I talk about how do these different grades fit into the career levels, what is the deep tech, where does a deep tech specialist sit? When do people become managers? So if you look at the bottom of the pyramid, I would say OST 6, which is an operations and support staff, professional grade 1 and 2, these are the folks who are basically individual contributors. They are the first line in the pyramid. That's the starting point for us, and that's career level 1. When you move on to grades such as PF3 and PF4, you become senior professionals, you become supervisors, you become task managers. You own responsibility for different tasks, and you own responsibility for getting these tasks done by your teams. You're not a typical people manager because you don't influence career paths, but you influence tasks and the kind of work which is allocated to your teams. So that's career level 2 for you. When people progress to professional grade 5 and executive 1, they become domain experts, they become manager of people, and that's career level 3. From career level 3 to 4 is basically all executives or some executives from E1 and E2, E3. They are basically part of the career level 4, which is basically a senior domain expert and manager of teams. So you're not just manager of people, but you manage multiple teams within your domain. And with E3 and E4, you hit the career level 5, where you're the master of the domain, you're manager of the function. So you lead the entire function, you own the entire function. And beyond that is the SLT, that is the senior leadership team. Now people ask us, Do I move career levels or do I move grades? So there is progression for grades. There is no progression for career levels. As you move within grades, you'll automatically move up in the pyramid and you'll move up in the career levels. So I hope with this slide, we're able to kind of help you understand where you fit in and where you should aspire to reach. Moving on to the next slide. So talking about some of the people engagement activities at NCS. So like I said, fun is definitely the last thing in the flywheel, but this is not the last thing that we do. This is more often that we engage in fun activities and engagement activities. So just to show you some of the pictures from past events. Obviously, last 2 years have been very difficult. We've been having all these engagement activities remotely, so it's not very feasible to have group activities at this point. But hopefully, with COVID settling down, and once we're back in office, I'm sure we'll have more opportunities to engage with our people. But yeah, just to give you a glimpse, if we can move to the next slide, please. So these are some of the events that we have had in the past, celebrating different festivals, marking our first anniversary, having some competitions. And yes, there are a lot of people in the NCS group who are very, who are physically very fit. They love to engage in, sports and other activities. So you'll actually see some of the trekking photographs as well in the next slide. So if you can move to the next one, please. So yeah, these are more of group activities taken up by different teams, and there you have some folks doing adventure activities and zip lining. So these are all from different team activities and larger at NCS office level. So moving on to the next one, please. Yes, so some more engagement photographs for you. And this is basically from the previous campus batch that we hired. So this was the first batch actually that we hired in 2019, pre-COVID. So that gave us an opportunity to actually visit specific campuses and engage with students in person. I hate to engage through the virtual world, but I think that the upside is that we're able to engage with larger number of folks this way. So that there's definitely a positive side to it as well. Okay, moving on to the next one. So Bill talked about the Pune office. We recently inaugurated this new facility in Pune. It's next to our earlier facility. So the first office that we have, that's in building number 7 in Blue Ridge, Pune, Hinjawadi, phase 1. The second office that we've set up, it's again in the same IT park. It's just a different building. It's building 3. So I think we have a video for you to kind of take a glimpse of how the office looked like on the inauguration day. So I hope you would have liked this sneak peek into our new office. I think the only thing that you will not see when you land up in our office is the flowers and the balloons, but I'm sure you'll see a lot more, faces there. We look forward to having, most of you people join us, and we hope that, we can be on this journey together. So with this video, we come to an end of our discussion. Amit, I would like to give it over to you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, Aditya, for detailed information about NCS and what are the various opportunities students are going to get. Just a minute. Yes, so I think it is a great opportunity for students. And one more important thing which I would like to mention is that all the communications, as I previously mentioned, like if you have joined late or if you have joined the presentation now, make sure that you do all the communications at our email ID, which is mentioned over here. Any queries apart from whatever is covered in this presentation, apart from that, if you have got any questions, queries, you can ask on this particular email ID. Okay. One important thing, make sure you go through all of your email inboxes, updates, folders, or even you can check spam mail. Whenever we are sending you out any communication, there is a chance that sometimes the email might land up in other folders apart from the inbox. Okay. And make sure you mark our email as important. So whenever we send you any notification, you will immediately get updated about it, because this drive is going to be like you are going to face multiple rounds and there will be multiple updates on your email from our team. So I think we can end, Aditya, with this. Thank you once again, Aditya. Thank you, Sneha, for coordinating. I think Bill has left. So thank you for NCS for the entire coordination for this particular pre-placement talk.
I just have one point to add, Amit.
Yes.
There is we often get notifications from reachers at NCS. Some of
Right.
you might have even sent emails. That mailbox is not managed by NCS India. That mailbox is managed centrally at NCS level. If you
Right.
decide to write to NCS, reach us at NCS, please note that messaging is going to be a lot slower by the time we actually get to know what your concerns are. So it is important that you make note of the email address which is flashed in front of you. That's info@talentbattles.in. And all communications through this channel would be much faster. Yeah. So
Yes.
that's the only thing
Thank
I
you,
want to
Aditya. Yes. Even initially, I told the students the same thing, like do not directly reach out on the email ID given on NCS website, because it will take a lot of time to respond. So if you mail on this particular email ID, all your queries will be resolved. Okay, so thank you all for attending this pre-placement talk and looking forward for the test day after tomorrow. So all the test details, text login, you will get till tomorrow end of day. Okay, all the candidates.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank
So
you so much, everyone. Wishing you all
I'll
the
end
best.
this. Yeah, I'll end the session, Aditya.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Aditya.